I wanted to talk about flow and how I kind of reverse engineer it. Whenever I learn a cool phrase, something like, if I just take like an E flat phrase, just kind of these movements that include all these enclosures and also superimposing the 5 dominant diminished over the 1 chord. What I like to do is, let's say I come up with this phrase. What I want to do now is I want to kind of recreate that phrase over chord changes. So I'm going to take Humpty Dumpty by Chick, that has like an E flat, D, G flat, and an F as the first chords. So you have this. And I want to create that phrase that I just practiced over the changes. So I'm simply going to change the notes while I'm keeping more or less the same intention of shape and movement. And that will be like that. E flat. Now I'm moving into D, right? A half step below. So I'm still keeping my shape and movement. You see? Now I was in D. So this is E flat. And if I do it on both chords, that will be. I had to anticipate the movement into the next chord tone of the next chord, that's D, to create that type of movement. Right now, my next chord is G flat, and if on my vamp chord I created this movement, I'm gonna do this kind of movement now on my G flat. Right, but of course after that I have F. So I'm gonna create an enclosure to my 5, right? Just like I had on the static chord. And then I'm landing on F. Right? So now just learning, like creating a phrase on 1 chord, right? Or something like that. Now it's all of a sudden on changes because I learned how to adapt by recognizing the movement and the chord tones. More or less, right? And of course, like when I practice that, I don't practice it like mathematically, like it has to be exactly the same. But I'm inspired by the movement and I'm thinking about it like watering a plant. Kind of like every day I want to keep watering that plant of flow, all while understanding how to utilize these different movements. Reason being, I like how it sounds, I like how it feels. This is what I want to do, like this is how I want to play, this is what I want to experience as part of my flow. Everything comes from reverse engineering the type of flow you want, and a lot of the time it comes from just like looking into the players that inspire you, right? So I'm very much inspired by Chick, Corea, and I really like different guitar players that have this linear language, and I'm just really into that stuff. I've been into that stuff for a very long while. And I've been teaching this kind of stuff for over a decade, and I have a full system on my website, weissguitar.com, that takes everybody from like more beginner, advanced to intermediate, advanced players who want to get into this style of playing and they're not really sure how. They're confused, they're trying to connect the dots, they maybe learned some theory or some whatever scales or arpeggios before, but they're having a hard time to keep that consistency and flow. So they can create this kind of linear language, this kind of like flow over vamps and changes. And some also come to me to coach them, not for the improvisation aspect. Some just want to create their own albums and own compositions, and it's the same thing. It's tapping into some kind of flow that has common sense, that has foundations in it. and then using that flow to create art as much as you can. And if you feel like in the process of creating that art you're stuck again, you need to revisit the foundations, and you need to make sure that you have the mechanics of music wired in, and you need to keep drilling them because they can get loose, right? And you will experience them getting loose by experiencing a lack of flow. And there's many ways of going around that can be just the foundations that I teach on the foundations course, which are more triadic arpeggios, kind of creating different smooth transitions like voice leading between the chord tones. But there's also the more advanced stuff, which is like the mechanics of bebop, the articulation, the technique, the playing in good time feel, of course, learning to feel a pulse, learning to feel 16th notes or swing 8 notes or triplets. All of these foundations need work, but also you need to work on the art itself, which is being in the moment or composing. Now, if you think about it, composing in a way is kind of like improvisation. You're reverse engineering an intention of what you want to create, and you're documenting it into paper or into your memory. When you're improvising, it's kind of like spontaneous composition. You're composing in the moment, and you're using the different tools and pieces of language you collected over the years, and you're creating art on the spot with them. Now, it's very important that if you have this vibe in you that you're like, oh my god, I love this kind of linear language, I like this kind of bebop, I like this kind of compositions, to ask yourself seriously if you got down the fundamentals, if you got down the foundations, and what's stopping you from having those. And a lot of the time what people are having is that they're just very confused on what they should practice and in what order and how they could start connecting all the dots together. And that's exactly why I created weissguitar.com, and on my website you can check everything from the very foundations all the way to how to start utilizing that into different advanced stuff or just basic. But having a solid foundation will set you free. And the whole reason we're playing an instrument anyway is because we want to experience that freedom, and that's what attracted us to this instrument in the first place. So I invite you to check out my website, weissguitar.com. I have the courses, and I also have the coaching program that you can apply to, and I hope to see you there and help you on your musical journey.